Hello students, welcome to week 5 for COM 535 Risk Communication. This week we're looking at topics related to mass media and health communication. As we move through the course content, you'll see you're reading chapter 4, which goes over comprehensively mass media and its use in communication related to environmental risks, and health communication as general. And you're also reading the WHO risk analysis PDF. This is the same one we read when we did the first risk analysis. You're more or less this week using it as a guide because we are completing risk analysis number 2. So also you're watching theories on cultivation theory. You're watching videos about theories related to cultivation theory. Theorist Max McCombs is going to be providing you with an excellent lecture and a video on understanding health promotion. We also are working on weekly reviews number 5 with original post due Friday and reply post due by Sunday, and risk analysis number 2. As we move through the content, it's important to look at and see what the discussion board post is required for this week for weekly review number 5. What you'll be doing is, after you read through the course content, watch this lecture obviously, and watch all the videos, you'll decide which activities below you could use, could be achieved through mass media by providing specific examples. So particularly, you may be looking at raising awareness for risk factors of coronary heart disease for males above 40, or the opening of a new stop smoking hotline, or the increasing number of women that are screened for cervical cancer. You'll either choose ensuring children have appropriate skills to cross the road safely, or changing attitudes towards schizophrenia. You'll pick one of those topics. You'll look at mass media and determine how you could best reach those particular audiences and what alternative methods you could use to reach those audiences by utilizing mass media based off of information from the chapter. You'll choose one activity mentioned in the chapter that's often referred to as by utilizing mass media, and state how social media outlets specifically could be effective in sending evidence-based messaging to the audience. So in activities, you'll determine you're going to run a series of TV commercials that are PSAs about the topic, or you're going to work with producers to integrate teaching children how to cross the road safely in children television programming or films or whatever it may be. Choose one activity related to mass media to determine how you're going to target that audience and how it may be effective, as well as how social media may be effective. Additionally, we'll be working on risk analysis number 2. This is the same exact structure that you did for risk analysis number 1. You're now choosing a new organization and a new risk or health risk to analyze. So refer back to risk analysis 1, feedback you received on that, on maybe how to improve it for this time, and then pick a new topic to analyze for this particular assignment. If you have specific questions on this, let me know. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This was referred to in the lecture where we had the first one assigned a couple of weeks ago, so everybody should have a good handle on what's expected there. Moving forward, looking at mass media, there's some topics I want to highlight that deal with media influence and the use of media in situations like this in terms of communicating health or environmental risks and such to your audiences. The first thing to look at is ideology. This should be a familiar term for you. If it's not, ideology is a system of meaning that helps define and explain the world, as well as making value judgments about that world. In addition, media effects within ideology helps determine realistic reflections of society, as well as being concerned about what messages these images send about the nature of the world and how the world operates and how it should be. So media scholars often examine media image to uncover their ideologies by looking at reoccurring themes and images within media. So ideology really is that system of meaning that helps us define and explain the world in order to make value judgments about the world. So as we consider using media as a form of communication for these health topics, it's important to have a good handle of what ideology or what ideological perspectives your audiences may perceive from various mass media outlets. Hunter and Wolf are noted with saying that determining the mediated images with differing or competing ideologies often can create a culture war within society. So if you create something that conflicts with what typical ideological perspectives are on a particular health topic, you can create an internal culture war for the audience member. Agenda setting theory is a really important theory to be aware of as you choose your media forms of media and media outlets you're looking at in terms of creating influence about this topic. So when you use mass media and you determine a mass media approach by integrating the health topic within children's television programming or PSA or getting a spotlight on a major news network to have them interview you about it and things of that nature, as a communication practitioner in this sense, you're looking to utilize media influence to win your audience over to believe and adopt new behaviors about your health topic. So with that, agenda setting theory helps you understand how that may happen or how media influence happens as well. This was developed in 1968. McCombs and Shaw are really pivotal around this theory. And really what it tells us is that media can set the public agenda and discourse by not telling you what to think, but telling you what to think about. So they can't force you. Prior to 1968, it was assumed that media could almost influence you to think about what to think about by telling you need to think about this and you need to believe this about a particular topic. That was what the common knowledge was about media influence at the time. However, McCombs and Shaw has found that it's more sophisticated than that. We can't just tell people what to think through media, but we can tell them what to think about. We can present and reoccurring topics and things about a particular topic that we view as a noteworthy current event, and we can get them thinking about that. Ultimately, they'll come up with their own ideas and theories about how they believe or are influenced by that. So this is one of the most prominent media effects theories. It's about utilizing media to help set the public agenda and telling people what they should think about. So we don't need to tell them in our media coverage that they need to adapt new behaviors towards smoking. You need to stop smoking. You need to stop smoking. You can't force somebody to start believing that. Agenda setting theory would rather say by repeated media exposure in different avenues through media, so social media, newspapers, PSAs, it's shown in television programming and films, you can get the person to start thinking about the health factors around smoking, which then in turn they'll adapt their own behaviors and ideas from that. So we can get them to think about it, but we can't tell them what to think. We can't tell them this should be your opinion about this, but we can get them to think about the topic. This is really more applicable in news media and different exposures to news media, and really social media is now being a common avenue where this is really utilized heavily. Cultivation theory is another theory utilized in media influence. This tells us that repeated and heavy media exposure, those consumers are more susceptible to media messages and the belief that they are real and valid. So the more you watch a particular show repeatedly, you begin to believe that what they're saying in that particular news show, dramatic show, whatever it may be, those messages are real and valid. It goes into the idea when you watch reality TV, we know that that's not necessarily valid or actual reality. It's more of an interpretation of reality. However, through heavy media consumption, some people can begin to believe that that's what reality should be depicted as because they've seen that over and over and over again, and there's a cultivation of their attitudes based on that topic and attitudes present in society. So really what happens is that media takes those attitudes, represents them as a bundled package in different ways to their audiences. So media cultivates the status quo, but they don't challenge it. Viewers are really unaware to the intent in which they're absorbing said medias. The most common thing that came from this is the mean world syndrome. The more violence you watch through media, the more you believe the world is dangerous. So if you turn on the 10 o'clock news every night and all you see is a carjacking, a shooting, a murder, or this or that, you're going to believe, I'm not going to leave my house because all I see on TV about the world is violence, and it's a dangerous world. And so that's cultivation theory at its finest. The more you watch of a particular thing, the more you believe that that's the actual fact and reality of the world, when in turn, that may be a part of the world, but not the majority idea. This is primarily used through television, that television influences our perception of the world, and that media consumption can cultivate attitudes within its viewership. So consumers flock to like-minded media outlets to further cultivate their attitudes on particular topics. So somebody knows that they really are in tune to what is reported on e-news. entertainment news. So they tend to only watch entertainment news because they prefer that type of outlet to further cultivate their attitudes on particular topics, or so on and so forth. We tend to cultivate around the things and our ideals that we believe to get our news about that particular thing. It's important to keep in mind as we work through and looking at how mass media can be utilized in our environmental health campaigns, risk communication, as well as personal health. So just to recap, week 5 agenda tells us that we're reading chapter 4, we're reviewing the WHO risk analysis PDF, we're watching a video on cultivation theory, as well as something on Max McCombs, and we are watching something on understanding health promotion. You have weekly review number 5 due on Friday with your replies due on Sunday, as well as risk analysis number 2 due this week. If you have any questions, let me know. I will be going through your midterms and all of the week 4 assignments this week. I look forward to interacting with you, and I pray you all have a blessed week.